In this video, I'd like to talk about the math question of the day for Monday, May 29th, 2023. And with this problem, we have 13/10 of a number is what percentage of that number? And fractions and percents and converting between the two is typically taught in grade school, maybe in 4th, 5th, or 6th grade, depending where you go to school. So at this point, go ahead and pause the video, see if you can work through this on your own. And when you're ready, unpause the video and we can go through this together. Now, assuming that you have attempted the problem, let's start working through this. And we have 13/10 of some number, and we need to figure out what percentage that is of that number. So effectively, we need to take this fraction here and convert it to some percentage. And to do that, there are several different approaches, but the main one is to use long division, convert this to a decimal, and then multiply that by 100%. So let's start with that first step, converting 13/10 to a decimal. And like I mentioned, we can use long division. That's the typical approach for converting a fraction to a decimal. However, since this is divided by 10 and our entire number system is based off the number 10, this one is a little bit simpler. So let's actually carry out this long division. We have 13 and we are dividing that by 10. We will need some decimal places here. And 10 goes into 13 one time. And we can bring up this decimal here. We multiply to find that remainder. We then subtract, we get 3. And we bring down the next number. 10 goes into 30 3 times. So we get 1.3 as our decimal here. Now, because this is divisible by 10, you could recognize that we really just have 13/10, or as a mixed number, we have 1, since 10 goes into 13 one whole time, and 3/10. And this is really 1 plus 3/10, if you want to think about it that way. And 3/10, well, that's just a 3 in the tenths place. So because this is divided by 10, or it would be the same if it's divided by 10 to any power, we can very quickly write that as a decimal. But if it's something more complicated, let's say 7/8, then you would have to use long division to show that this is 0.875. But now that we know what 13/10 is as a decimal, to change it to a percent, like I mentioned, we just need to multiply this by 100%. And remember that 100% is really just 100 divided by 100. Since remember, in the word percent, we have percent. Per is the word that just means divide by, and cent is the word meaning 100. So when you see percent, you can literally think about it as divide by 100. So when we have 100%, this is just 100 divided by 100, which is equal to 1. So we can multiply anything by 1, which means we can multiply anything by 100% without actually changing the number. And let's do that. We have 1.3, we can multiply that by 100%. And multiplication by 100 just moves the decimal 2 places to the right, and we'll have to fill in a 0 there, but we get 130, and then we can just put our percent sign at the end. So this right here will be our final answer. To answer this question, 13/10 of a number is 130% of that number. And it should make sense that this is bigger than 100%, because 13 over 10 is bigger than 1. If this number was less than 1, like that example I gave, 7/8, then our percentage would be less than 100, since 100% is equal to 1.